right, guys. Hope you're all well. This is somewhat of a surprise live stream because Chad Doerman's been in court today. I thought that he was in court on Monday. That's what was said at his initial appearance when he was arrested for a preliminary hearing. However, it's all changed because a grand jury sat yesterday and indicted him on 21 counts. So he was in court for his arraignment today. And as you can see in the title of this video, and as you can see in the title of this piece that I'm going to play you, he has pled not guilty. He has pled not guilty. What? What? Now, I did say, look, you know, I hope he doesn't walk this back, because he made a confession. He made a confession. So he's now going to walk it back, apparently. All right. Okay. So we're going to listen. Now, this hearing's quite long. It's like 30 odd minutes because the majority of it was just reading the charges. So I'm not going to play it all. I've left a link to this. It's from WLWT News 5. And if you've not seen it, I guess some of you might have seen it already. This came out about 3 hours ago. So this happened earlier today. Like I said, I didn't know about it until I saw this and saw the title, like, please not guilty. Say what? Because I just assumed the next we're going to hear about this case was Monday. You know, but these grand juries, they just sit and do things and you've no idea they're doing them. So thank you. Yeah, I'm a bit shocked. I have to say I'm a bit shocked. But I'm probably not surprised. So thank you for the 10 Australian dollars. It's very kind of you. Another Letitia. Well, she didn't confess. She told a million different stories, but didn't confess. All right, so going to play it from about 18 minutes. So they've appointed in public defenders. They've been kind of, you know, the early part of this hearing was all procedural, you know, appointing his defenders. So he's got 2 public defenders. Somebody said in the chat, I was just reading before we started. Let me just find it now. It's right up here. So Leah says, I don't know if anyone has followed the Pike County massacre in Ohio, but one of Chad's attorneys was also an attorney for one of the murders in that case as well. So I didn't know that. And also apparently one of the prosecutors. So presumably this woman who's standing is the female prosecutor. So I assume it's her. So, dear me. Thank you, GoFundMe, for the $5. That's very kind of you. Yeah, exactly. Well, no. Chris Watts pled guilty. Chris Watts, at least didn't drag it out. He pled guilty. Once he confessed, he pled guilty. Okay, so so he's got 2 public defenders and they're reading out the charges. Now, if I just skip back a little bit there. So we've got 9 counts of aggravated murder, 8 counts of kidnapping, and 4 counts of felonious assault. So the prosecutor has to read through every single charge and the possible sentences for these. Some of them have the death penalty attached to them, life without parole for 30 years, and da, 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 da. She goes kind of down all of them. So I'm not going to play all of those. And like I said, you can go and watch that if you want to. I've put the link in the description. So the news person comes back to explain what's going on, because she's just standing there reading a bunch of charges. So we'll play from the news person's summary of what's going on, and then we'll go back into court and hear his plea, and also the bail. So they apply for bail. All right, so we'll play it from here. Let me know that you can hear it okay.
To Ohio Revised Code, Section 290501A3, as kidnapping, a felony of the first degree. There is also a firearm specification attached.
All right, we just want to update viewers. If you're just now joining us, what you're watching right now is Chad Doerman's arraignment, since a grand jury handed down charges yesterday, quite a few of them. He was initially charged with 3 counts of aggravated murder back about a week ago when those 3 boys were killed. Yesterday, the grand jury came to a conclusion, many conclusions, about what he is facing right now. And what you're seeing going on in court is the judge, Judge Victor Haddad, has asked the court and the prosecutors to go through each and every charge one by one to make sure that Chad Doerman's attorneys and Chad Doerman himself understand what he is being charged with. All 21 of these charges, he has 9 counts of aggravated murder, 8 counts of kidnapping, 4 counts of felonious assault that the grand jury came up with. So this is the arraignment, the first time he is hearing these charges in person. He's sitting there in the orange next to his attorneys, does not have on the protective green vest that we saw him in last week, but he is hearing these charges for the first time. And we may get a plea deal at the end of all of this. So we'll send you back to the courtroom to continue to listen in. I think they have about 10 to 12 more charges to go through. We will hear what the judge decides to do next once the prosecution finishes reading off each and every charge against Doerman for the alleged killing of his 3 sons, 7-year-old Clayton, 4-year-old Hunter, and 3-year-old Chase. We'll take you back to the courtroom right now.
Specification would be 3 years mandatory to be served prior and consecutive to.
Okay, so I'll skip just a little bit further. We're still reading charges. It's just very monotonous because there's so many of them. Okay, we'll go back here.
Each and every charge, which is 9 counts of aggravated murder, 8 counts of kidnapping, and 4 counts of felonious assault, to make sure that Chad Doerman himself and his defense team all understand what he's facing. Some of these carry some long sentences, but some of these charges do carry a possible death penalty sentence. So they're going to wrap them up in the next couple of minutes. I think they just went through count 20 right now, and then we will see where the judge decides to head from there. Since this is an arraignment, there's a chance that we could hear a plea from Chad Doerman towards the end. But let's take you back out to the courtroom in Claremont County to hear the last few charges before the judge continues on with this arraignment.
Okay, so I'm just going to let it play from here now.
Sentencing. The minimum term would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 years, up to the minimum term imposed plus 1/2. And by way of example, if 8 years was imposed, the prison term would be 8 to 12 years. The firearm specification is that 3 years mandatory, and the fine possible up to $15,000.
Thank you, Mr. Haynes.
We agree, Your Honor.
Mr. Doerman, you understand? All right, I think that covers the entirety of the indictment.
It does, Your Honor.
All right. At this time, Mr. Myers and Mr. Haynes, based upon the recitation of the indictment and all the possible charges and possible sentences, what is the plea of your client at this time?
Plea is not guilty, Your Honor.
All right.
We reserve the right to file later pleas.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Because of the nature of
The judge, I should say, I think Mr. Myers touched on it, but it hasn't been quite 24 hours since he was indicted or read the indictment, so he's going to waive the 24-hour waiting period.
Okay, thank you. Would you please, Mr. Haynes, step up, and then if you and Mr. Myers could sign as attorneys for Mr. Doerman, and then have Mr. Doerman sign.
We decided, Judge.
Thank you. So for the record, Mr. Haynes, you signed, Mr. Myers signed, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. And Mr. Doerman, you signed as well? All right. As to bond, statement.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll be discussing bond. Your Honor, as the court is aware, pursuant to Article 1, Section 9 of the Ohio Constitution, this,
Judge, we're not going to object to bond.
We pass on.
Meaning that if he's asking for, they're going to ask for a no bond.
correct.
And
We're not opposing that.
are you comfortable with that? Mr. Cole?
The Constitution says where proof is evident and.
Continue. Go on, continue.
Judge, I think.
Make a record.
Thank you, Your Honor. The court needs to have some understanding of the facts. What we have here is the planned slaughter of 3 little boys, ages 7, 4, and 3. The first one shot was a 4-year-old, shot in the house 2 times, then sustained 2 bullet wounds to the head, causing his death. The second child shot was a 7-year-old who fled the residence, ran some 300 feet from the residence, and was gunned down from behind by the defendant. We then approached this little boy who's injured, incapacitated, alive, shot him in the head twice from close distance. There were powder burns on the boy's head. And then he went after the 3-year-old. And there was a struggle with the mother. He ripped the child from the mother's arms, put a bullet in his head. At close range, there were powder burns on the 3-year-old boy's head. Your Honor, those facts are important for the court to know in terms of this being a capital case. We find, Your Honor, my conclusion is that proof is evident and the presumption is great that he be held without bail.
All right. Thank you. Defense has nothing to add.
No, Your Honor.
All right, the court's going to order based upon Article 1 of the Ohio Constitution, Section 9. It's been amended on November 8th of 2022. The bond in this case be no bail at the present time. And what the court's going to do is prepare an entry that contemplates that, because my normal judgment entries do not contemplate Article 1, Section 9. So we'll put one together indicating the court's order of no bail. Anything from the defense at this time? Anything else before the court notes that the case is assigned to Judge Ferentz? And the court date, we want to work around schedules. Do we have a date?
Originally, it was set for July 5th. Is there another date?
Is that a bad date?
It was up to the attorney.
Can everyone do July 5th?
I can do that, Judge.
Yes,
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Myers?
The 5th would work. I might indicate, as I'm now reminded by co-counsel Mr. Haynes, we're before this court the following day on Mr. Guilfoyle's case, and I would wonder if,
At 10:30.
I mean, obviously I'll work with both courts schedules.
Well, we want to work with your schedule, but I think the heightened security is a little too much for us to have both of them
Oh, I see.
at the same time, because they're both death penalty cases.
So
But I know you've come a long way, but.
that's all right. Part of the job.
All right.
So we'll be down here on the 5th for a pre-trial.
Yes,
Okay.
and we're looking at a time, because I'm trying not to insert it on his regular docket so that Judge Ferentz has some time.
Got you.
It could be 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, or 1 o'clock.
About 11. Is that all right with everybody?
Does that work for everyone?
Fine.
Okay, 11 o'clock. For the court's own edification, Mr. Doerman, can you please tell me how old you are?
32,
And what's your date of birth?
3191.
And are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes.
All right. At this point then, Mr. Haynes or Mr. Myers, is there anything else that you want the court to consider?
Your Honor, I think just on the technical front, we would waive the reading of the indictment. We discussed that
Thank
with
you.
Mr. Doerman at length yesterday.
Thank you. Would the defense have any issue, I'm just asking, waiving time till the next hearing?
No, Your
No.
Honor.
All right. Terry, can you tell me that date again, please?
July 5th at 11 a.m.
And we're gonna call it a free trial. And then, Mr. Myers and Mr. Haynes, would you please sign as attorneys for the defendant, have Mr. Doerman sign, and then have one or all three of the prosecutors sign?
Okay, I think they're just signing stuff now. Let me just, yeah, I think they're just signing stuff now. Hold on.
I don't know if these are signatures or if we can just put your name. I think we have to sign. You do have to sign.
They're just talking about who's signing what, right? So that's the end.
That's for this purpose.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Wow. So we heard from the prosecutor, even though defense wasn't going to trying to argue for a bond, that the facts of the case are horrific. So he shot the 4-year-old, who's called Hunter, first in the house. He then, the 7-year-old, who's called Clayton, he ran away and he shot him as he was running. And then he was lying injured and he just, at point blank range, shot him in the head. So the lining his 3 sons up, kind of execution style, doesn't seem to be exactly what happened. Maybe he tried to do that in the house. I don't know. Thank you, Heaven Reigns. Thank you for the 199. Thank you. I know it's infuriating. Absolutely infuriating. And then the 3-year-old, who's called Chase, he ripped him from his mother's arms. So presumably she was trying to protect him, and that's presumably how she got shot in the hand and shot him in the head. And he had powder burns on his head. It was that close. So horrific, absolutely horrific. Now, the kidnapping charges, I saw it going through as this was playing. I saw someone mention it in the chat. I assume that it's classed as kidnap if the mother wanted to leave with the children and he stopped them. So I'm assuming that would be what it was, that she was trying to leave. Like let's just imagine the scenario that he's angry. She says she's leaving and he stops them all from leaving. That would technically be classed as kidnapping. So not guilty. But of course, he can change his plea at a future time. And we've got the next hearing is a pre-trial hearing on the 5th of July at 11 a.m. So I don't know what that is my time. I think that's going to be something like 5 p.m. my time, I think, possibly. Yeah, some of these charges, I don't know why they generally do this. They do like several counts for the same victim because there's slightly different variations in law. So that's just what they do. So there's 9 counts because presumably there's 3 variations of aggravated murder in law. But then if they find him guilty on all charges, he doesn't serve 3 life or 3 death sentences per victim. They serve them concurrently. That's generally what happens. So, yeah. Did you hear the ice cream man? Yeah, the bell's really loud. He stops at just behind my house. I want to see actually if the indictment's been released. I want to read the indictment because he didn't say anything about sealing anything. Just see. Let's see if anybody's got it. I mean, it's just, I just can't with him. I just can't. Clayton, Hunter, and Chase. Clayton was 7, Hunter was 4, and Chase was 3. Oh, the 911 calls. Oh, dear. Do you want to listen?
Where's your emergency?
There's a girl running down the street saying that her stepfather is killing everyone in her family. It's on the corner of where there's a body shop and the fire department. Do you know what road this is?
Okay, what's your name?
She ran to the fire department.
What's your name?
Do you know what road this is? Laura Lindell Road.
You said what?
It's Laura Lindell Road.
Okay, and what did the female say to you?
And she says that her stepfather is killing everybody in her house. I did. I'm on the phone with them right now.
Did you say how or what was happening?
I asked her to get in the car with me, and she said she couldn't leave her family. But I think she ran to the fire department.
So she went to the fire station. What did she look like?
She's she's probably a young teenager, probably like 16 maybe, with long blonde hair. And she has a black dog.
Did she say anything about a baby?
I don't know about no baby. She said she just couldn't leave her family. But I see a car running around. I'm sorry?
Do you see anything from the house?
So I drove down the road a little bit, so I was afraid that I was going to get shot myself since I interacted with her face to face. So I'm just about maybe 3 houses down. But she's like waiting at the corner. I don't know what she's doing, but I kind of still see her in the corner. But I saw a car kind of came around and whipped around. So I'm not exactly sure if that's him or if he's chasing her or not. I'm sorry?
What kind of vehicle was it?
I saw it. It was like a gray. Did you see that car whip around? It's one of the fire department guys.
Okay.
I think maybe a fire department guy. It was a regular kind of focus-looking gray car.
Okay, we have help on the way. Thank you.
Dark gray. Okay, all right.
Call us back, okay, and steer clear of the area at this time.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, are you inside where you're safe?
I'm standing outside where I can see the fucking lady.
Okay.
I'm across the street at Lindell Automotive.
Can you tell how many people have been shot?
I think 2 children
Okay. All right. What was
that
your
I've
name,
seen.
sir?
My name is.
What's your last name? All right. We've got help on the way. If you could just try to stay inside so that you're safe.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, so what are we doing here?
This matter.
So a guy also rang 911. So we knew about the woman. A guy also rang 911 who said 2 children had been shot. But of course, there was one shot in the house. So I think the one Clayton, the 7-year-old who ran, would have been the one that was quite far down the driveway. And then the 3-year-old, I think, would have been the one that was close by. And you could hear his mother screaming in the police body cam. And then that's Chase. And then the 4-year-old Hunter, he would have been in the house. I know the operators, sometimes they just ask the really silly questions, don't they? I mean, I don't know. It's I suppose it's kind of like quite high pressure. I want to read the indictment. Has anybody seen the indictment? Has it been released? It might not have been released yet. Hold on, I'll check Twitter. Sometimes people put them on Twitter when they find it. Chat Doerman. Oh dear, there's people very angry. Yeah, you already confessed. Exactly, Marie, whoever you are. Oh, they're just all sharing the same article here. Oh, well, it's not immediately obvious. If anybody's seen the indictment, would you let me know? But this might not have been released. Oh, it's just absolutely, yeah, you've got to laugh because it's just so horrendous. Horrendous. At least plead guilty and just put everybody, just provide closure for the court, if nothing else. You know, if he just wanted to get at his wife, well, you've done that. You've absolutely ruined her life and your stepdaughter's life. You've murdered your 3 sons. At least, you know you're going to be found guilty. I mean, how many witnesses were there? How many witnesses were there? I mean, yeah, he could try not guilty by reason of insanity. But look, this guy, right, minutes after shooting them, he was as calm as anything. It's on police body cam. He was as calm as anything. Nowhere was that guy in any form of insanity. He wasn't. He absolutely was not. At the very least, he is going to spend the rest of his life behind bars, at the very least. So he might as well just plead guilty. You know, you plead guilty, they might take the death penalty off the table. Not that I want them to, but if he pleads not guilty and he takes it all the way through, then he's got no leverage. Calculated and malicious, yeah. Yeah, he was. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, Gracie. He's telling the police how to act around his dog. Yeah. He was well aware of his surroundings. He knew exactly what was going on. Right. And although everything was fine, according to him, there was no inkling whatsoever that that guy was legally insane. And that's literally minutes after he shot them. So I don't even know. I haven't looked it up. Do they have the insanity defense in Ohio? I just explained, E. Jones, that this is quite common. That there might be more than one type of aggravated murder in a particular state. So they charge them with all. So there's 3 variations of aggravated murder that he could be charged with, or that he could be found guilty of. So they charge with all 3. So 3 victims, 3 types of aggravated murder. So that counts as 9. Now, it doesn't mean to say that they serve 9 life sentences or get found, have murdered, for each murder. If they're found guilty of all, they serve those concurrently rather than consecutively. So it gives the prosecution a little bit more leeway, because if they present, and it makes it a little bit harder for the defense as well. So it plays to the prosecution's favor, to their benefit, to charge with as many counts as they can, because the jury might find him not guilty of one type of aggravated murder for whatever reason, but are guilty of another. So it's like the prosecutors get 3 chances to get him to get the jury to find him guilty for each victim. Like you'll see it quite commonly. And then the 4 counts of kidnap, that's 1 for each of the boys and then the mother. And then the 4 types of felonious assault. If he's found guilty of everything, let's say it goes all the way to trial and all 21 counts are presented to the jury and they find him guilty of all 9 counts, the most likely thing he will get is 9 life sentences, but each of the 3 served concurrently. And then if he's also found guilty of the 4 counts of felonious assault, that might be subsumed under the life sentence. So felonious assault, 4 counts, that's 1 for each of the boys and then 1 for the mother, because she was shot in the hand. Ohio does have the insanity. Okay. I honestly do not think with the evidence on those police body cams, I do not think a jury would even entertain the possibility that he was insane. I think if he went down that route, I think we'd have another Letitia Stout case on our hands where the evidence just wasn't there. But hopefully he will plead guilty. Like once he's maybe had time to converse with his defenders, they're going to look at they're going to look at the discovery. They're going to look at the witness statements. They're going to look at the evidence. They're going to look at the body cams, and they're going to say, look, you've got no chance. If you're found guilty, you're going to get the death penalty. And if you plead guilty, they might well take the death penalty off the table, like they did with Chris Watts. So they took the death penalty off the table because he pled guilty. Because in Colorado at that time, they did have the death penalty on the books still. They don't now, but they did then. Thank you, Gracie, for the $9.99. It's very kind of you. Yes, it does. If you listen to the arraignment, listen to all of it, because I skipped over each of the charges. Some of them have death as one of the possible sentences. Yeah. Very, very hard. Very hard. Yeah. I mean, that's what's been said. That he's been planning this. Now, we don't know at this moment in time. We don't know what evidence there is to prove that he planned it. I don't know. I don't know. It only has the lethal injection. That's a shame. I think they should put in a motion here to bring back the firing squad in Ohio. Take him out the way he took his sons out. But put him up against a wall and start shooting from his ankles upwards, slowly. Yeah. But I'm happy with the lethal injection. However, I just don't want him in the world anymore. These people drive me mad. Very slow, yeah. Yeah, good idea. Yeah, chase him, hunt him down. So we'll give you a 10-second head start, and then we're coming. We'll give you a 10-second head start. I don't know. I can't with these people. Oh, yeah. Pled not guilty. It's pled not guilty. Not guilty. So for those just coming in, because this was very impromptu live, because I assumed Chad Doerman, the next thing we're going to hear would be Monday, because he in the initial appearance he did, they gave the preliminary hearing date of the 26th, 9 a.m. 26th. So I was going to do a live on the 26th talking about the hearing. So I was very surprised when I logged onto YouTube this afternoon and saw that there'd been an arraignment. I was like, what? Why has there been an arraignment? So it turns out that instead of a preliminary hearing, the grand jury sat yesterday and indicted him on 9 counts of aggravated murder, 4 counts of kidnap, and 4 counts of felonious assault. So the arraignment got his public defenders in place, read all of the 21 charges, and the judge then asked him to make his plea. And he pled not guilty to all counts. He's got no bond. The defense didn't argue about the no bond, but the prosecutor still wanted to lay out the facts of the case. So we did learn a little bit about how this went down. So we kind of heard that he lined them all up, and it doesn't sound like that's quite true, that he lined them all up. I mean, he could have tried. He could have tried. But anyway, the 4-year-old, who's called Hunter, he shot him in the house. So he shot him several times in the head in the house. The 7-year-old, who's called Clayton, he ran away. He's the one that ran down the driveway, and Chad chased him, shot him in the back as he was running away, and then stood over him while he was lying injured. Can you imagine doing this to your own child? Shoot him in the back as he's running away, takes him down, then stands over him and shoots him in the head. And then the 3-year-old, this little guy here, right? I don't think you can see my, hold on. You can't see me waving my cursor around here. Hold on, where am I? This little guy here is called Chase. And he grabbed him out of his mother's arms. So his mother was trying to protect him. And that must be how she got shot in the hand. He grabbed him out of his mother's arms and then shot him in the head. So he didn't intend to kill all of his family, because he could have shot her as well. He didn't intend to shoot her. He intended to make her suffer. And then he just went outside and sat on the step waiting for the cops. That's what he did. And we saw it. We've seen the police body cam. We saw him do that. So if he tries to plead not guilty by reason of insanity, he's got absolutely no chance at all. So he needs to plead guilty, take a plea deal, and spend the rest of his life inside. That's what his defense will probably try to advise him to do. Otherwise, if he takes this all the way to trial and puts everybody, including his wife, his ex-wife now, his stepdaughter, all the neighbours who are traumatized by this, because they're all everybody's going to have to appear in court as witnesses. So maybe he's pleading not guilty to drag it all out for her, to punish her even more. I don't know. I'm only speculating now. But maybe that's what he's trying to do. He's so hate-fueled that he knows he's going down for it, but he's gonna make it as hard as possible. So all those traumatized neighbors, that guy, have you seen the guy who lives across? You know, he's like, I can't even look over there now. I just saw, them laid out, the boys laid out. So we know that the one that was the furthest away from the house, that would have been Clayton, who tried to run away. Hunter was inside, and then the 3-year-old Chase, he would probably have been the one that was lying closest to the house, where his mother was trying to give him CPR. The stepdaughter, yes, she's 16. Yeah. Yeah, she's 16. I think her name's Alexis. So he's going to put them all through this horror. He's going to let the state spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And the outcome is going to be the same regardless. So his attorneys, I'm quite sure, will try to advise him to plead guilty, but it's up to him. It's up to him what he does. But he's got no chance. No chance whatsoever. Anyway, guys, that's all I've got to say. Just utterly disgusted. Utterly disgusted. At least Chris Watts had the decency to plead guilty. Not that Chris Watts had much decency about him, but at least he didn't drag it out. He didn't drag it out for Shanann's family. He pled guilty. And his own family come to that. But this guy, I can't with this guy. I just can't with this guy. So I'll call it a day. If you want to watch the whole arraignment, including the reading of all the charges, the link is in the description box. I'll put it in the chat as well, just in case you want to grab it right now and go and watch it right now. And I'll see you very soon. That's all I've got to say. There's something on WFLA about the Titanic, the Titan submersible that was found yesterday. So I want to go and watch that. I think that started about 15 minutes ago. So I'm going to go and check that out, see what they've got to say. All right, guys. Thank you for being respectful in chat. I don't think we had any mods in, but that's okay. They do great work anyway. Thank you for the donations. You're always very kind. And I will see you very soon. Bye, guys.